Hello, podcast listeners. In this episode of JJ Meets World, we're going to cover a lot of ground. We're going to do a little bit of improvisation for you. We are going to talk about Tucker's need to constantly be... what's the word I'm looking here for? His constant need to buy me things to further my addiction to VHS tapes. He's being a schoolyard pusher when it comes to collecting physical media. And then we're going to talk about how if Tucker and I were ever serial killers, we'd choose our victims based on VHS tapes. You're in for a long haul on this one. Sit back, relax, enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World.
And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
Tucker, I've written a script here, and I thought about it on the way over, and it's very Tucker humor, I think, if I had to pick anything. So I'm going to give you a copy of this, and you play the character Tucker.
Oh, okay.
And I play the character Bruce. Okay? But I don't want you to go ahead in
I
the
won't even
copy.
look at it until we start
Right,
going.
exactly. So Tucker has not seen this. It's fresh from the copier.
Okay.
And Tucker, it's going to start with your line. But I want to set the setting for you, okay? We are on the 13th floor of a high-rise building in a big city. We both work at a textbook, a place where they write textbooks for grades all the way from like elementary school all the way through college. And I'm a writer who's recently been hired to work there, okay?
Okay.
And you're the boss.
Okay.
So you can flip it over and you can start reading because you're the first person.
Okay. Sounds good.
Ready?
Hey, Bruce, can I see you in my office for a moment, please?
Sure thing, boss.
Shut the door, please. Bruce, when we hired you, you had some writing experience on your resume. Could you remind me what it was that you have experience in?
Sure. I wrote for the Harvard Medical Journal when I was taking classes. I published a series of young adult novels about vampires, and I also freelanced for BuzzFeed.
Right. Well, I'm having a hard time believing you. I was just handed your most recent chapter, and I have to be honest, I am disappointed.
Give me specifics.
Well, as you know, here at Lucas Textbooks Incorporated, we strive to provide the best possible educational tools. I read your chapter on reproduction for the 8th grade level health curriculum, and it doesn't make sense.
I worked really hard to write something that was approachable by today's adolescent.
Bruce, I am afraid you are fired.
What?
Let me give you an example. The chapter is titled Doing It, and you start with, when two people want to smash, they take their things and put them in the places, then a winky emoji.
And?
You're fired.
Scene. I envisioned this as a whole series of Bruce being called into his boss's office.
So he's getting fired from different jobs.
Right, but they all involve him having to write about the reproductive organ, but he is unable to say it. So in one of these, he gets hired by a porn producer to like write a series of like pornographic films. And it says here that the man uses his peen. And he goes, now, why would you use this word? Why would you choose that? And I'm like, well, I don't want him to feel embarrassed when he's reading his script. And
really sanitized and actually really educational, maybe.
And then he also gets a job. When a doctor records something and then dictates it back, like to be typed out, and so he gets called into the dictation boss's office saying, you change some of the wording here, and now a man has lost his life.
Where did this germinate? Why is your character Bruce and not JJ?
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because I felt Bruce best exemplified the everyman.
Why was my character just named me?
Well, right, yeah, Tucker. Well, to be honest, I started by typing your name, and I was gonna call you Mr. Thompson, but then I thought, well, does Mr. Thompson work at all these places? No, so I'll just name it Tucker, and you'll just be boss.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you know, us here at Lucas Textbooks.
I know. Do you like that? You like that? That was a shout out just for you. That was just for you, buddy. So that was a
Produced
a quick piece.
the Tome Baby America.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I like that. And then I thought, okay, so I'm going to put Tucker on the spot today with a couple of pieces of improvisation because I'm curious to know about this. Do you ever think to yourself, here's the entire conversation laid out that I might have, like you're waiting in line at a checkout stand and you're getting ready to have a response because you've seen how this checker has said to two people, did you find everything you're looking for? And so you've worked up your conversation already before you even get there.
Yeah, I mean, the introvert part of me wants to navigate those sorts of
Yes, I figured
stranger
so.
interactions as best as possible. And so I really notice it when I'm about to go through the drive-through of practicing saying my order in my head. I just do. But I usually get really, really specific. Some places like Grand Junction, no matter how specific I get, like it doesn't seem to be enough.
They're still, okay, do you want onions on that? I no onions.
I want an easier way to communicate to them that I want a variation of their cheesesteak without a couple of the toppings that they want to put on it and changing
Like
the cheese
mushrooms.
out. I'd get rid of the mushrooms, the peppers, and the jalapenos and then switch out the provolone with American to have a classic melt.
I like that. I mean, that's a good move.
I'm glad that you wanted to do like improv stuff. I'm down to clown with you in any way.
It's very simple. I'm just going to give you a scenario and then you can give me a scenario back.
Sure.
And there's things that are realistic and approachable in real life, okay?
Sure.
So here's the thing. You can't say I would never do that because the part of the scenario
well, you're supposed
is
to yes and this stuff.
Right, exactly.
That's how it works.
So how often do you wash your car? Rarely, right?
Yeah.
So
although I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
So because your car needs a car wash?
Yeah.
So let's say you've gotten to the point of where your car needs a car wash.
It needs
and
an interior car wash.
Oh, see, even better. So you go and you purchase a car wash, and it's to purchase a good car wash with interior is like $35
Yep.
now. I mean, it's a decent amount of money.
Yep.
And you go in, and they call you over after your car's done, and you get in, and it's not even close to being like they maybe wiped down part of it, but there's still dust everywhere. You even notice on your windshield there's still a bunch of bugs. Mm-hmm. And you ask to see the manager.
Okay.
Okay. And so the manager comes over and he says, "How can I help you?" What do you say?
Yeah, I was just wondering if I could get some of the stuff that didn't get cleaned off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we have a satisfaction guaranteed policy here. So what types of things, I'm sorry, that we didn't get accomplished?
I'm just noticing there's a bunch of bugs over here, and this didn't get like really vacuumed over here and stuff. So if you guys wouldn't mind taking care of that, I'd appreciate it.
Why are you being such a bitch?
I'd really, really appreciate it if you guys would just, do what I paid for.
Oh, right. Of course. It's hard to get employees right now.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
And so we've had a lot of troubles getting employees. And so sometimes I think at the end of the day, I mean, you wait until 20 minutes before we close. And so I thought, listen, this guy really doesn't care that much. Maybe this is not even your car.
Okay.
Maybe this is like your father-in-law's car.
No, this is my car. But
It's just your car?
But you know what? That's all right.
I don't see a ring.
I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very, very much.
So you want me to do this or not?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Make sure to come back to Ron's car wash.
Thank you, Ron.
There you go.
I would just.
You'd stop that interaction.
I would stop the interaction. Well, first off, if he's like, "Why are you being such a bitch?" See that coming at all? I would go, okay, I'm no longer fighting with this person. I'm going to do something bigger than this, and so I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And go, okay, well, here's the thing. I just paid $35 to find out I'm never going to go there again. It also is giving me moral justification to try to get someone fired or ruined if I can.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just not going to do it right there.
Okay,
It's like
so
it
you're
doesn't
gonna
have to happen
you're gonna,
right now.
You're gonna try and get the manager.
Oh,
of this
I'm
place
not
fired.
I'm not taking that lying down, but it's more of like what's the best way to fight this battle, right? Is it really right here, right now, where this person's already called me a bitch?
Okay, so it's 2 days later, and you finally
The improv
you finally work up the courage to call. And so,
no, that's not what I would do.
Ring,
though.
ring.
I would definitely.
You'd go back in.
I would write an email
Okay.
within 30 minutes of being there.
Oh, okay.
And I would CC like the corporate office, and
It's
also
been-
potentially my legislator.
It's been a week, and none of these people have responded to your email, even though you've CC'd everybody.
So then I tell myself a story about how that must have got that guy fired, and he's dead now.
So here's a new scenario, okay? You recently purchased an ice cream truck, and you purchased this ice cream truck because...
I just realized I pimped you.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm
That's
sorry.
fine.
I just rewound the clock and realized
Would you like to know something about improv that like is a level like 102?
Uh-huh.
You can do things like pimping and saying no if you trust your partner enough to go along with it.
Got it.
Most of the time, the idea of saying yes and is only applicable when you're first learning those skills because no but can be just as powerful and can be just as strong of a move as a yes and. It's the same thing happens like with a pimp occasionally.
Yeah, but it's it just highlights for me how easy it is when you're untrained, right?
Oh, sure,
When you're
yeah.
undisciplined at it to slip into that motion because your brain is going in one direction. And you're
Right.
like, no, keep going this way.
To be honest, like I pimped you by being like, why are you being a little bitch? Right? Like there's nothing about this character that should have said that is okay or something that would have been expected of it, right? Okay, so you now own your own ice cream truck. Okay? And you purchase this ice cream truck because you decide it's time for you to be your own boss. And you've been reading the Farmer's Almanac and you know it's going to be a hot summer. And so you are going to go out there and you're going to make some money by selling ice cream. And the first place you go is to a city park on a hot Saturday afternoon in June. You're excited. You've loaded it up with not only your favorite treats, but other things like a SpongeBob SquarePants popsicle that you know will be popular with the kids. You have some Marvel-themed items in there as well, like a Spider-Man ice cream sandwich. So there's some good stuff in there. And you are dressed all in white with a little white cap, like a good humor man, but you're not part of a corporation. You are your own entity. And you've just launched it, and it's called Tucker's Treats. That's what's written on the side of it, and there's a cartoon version of you saluting as they pull up. So Tucker's Treats opens, and you open the window for the first time ever, and a boy approaches you, probably around 10 years old. And the boy says, I would like a Spider-Man ice cream treat, please.
Not a problem, buddy. That's going to be $1.25.
I have that amount of currency for you. And he puts $1.25 on the counter, and you do what?
I go, here you go, buddy. I hope you enjoy your Spider-Man treat.
And you give it to him.
Yeah.
An hour and a half later, after you've been servicing other customers, people are coming to Tucker's Treats like there's no tomorrow.
Words out, I've got Spider-Man ice cream cakes.
Right.
Ice cream sandwiches.
Like, it's huge. It's massive.
Right on.
And you're feeding nostalgia at the same time. People are really into this idea of going up and getting their favorite cold treat on a hot day and walking away.
And I think a Spider-Man ice cream sandwich is basically red velvet graham crackers, with blueberry ice cream on the inside of it.
Maybe there's a little frosting like Spider-Man eye
For the
and like,
the webbing.
webbing.
The webbing.
It's going great. I mean, young lovers are purchasing treats that they
Right.
can share together. Families are coming up all together.
Right.
There's an old couple who tells you that they met in this park 60 years earlier, and they're celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
They're so happy that I took over the old ice cream stand.
Right. There's a
from-
place called JJ's Garbage Treats, and they're glad that he's not here anymore.
Yeah, that he's
because
gone.
the worst. But an ambulance whizzes by. Wee-oo, 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 wee-oo. And everyone, like, my gosh, an ambulance. And a cop car whizzes by. And a fire truck. And so it's something serious is going on in the park.
Yeah, they might need my treats.
So you're just packing up for the day. You've sold out your entire inventory.
So I have no more ice
You
cream.
got no more ice cream.
Nothing.
You thought that if you could sell a third of the treats that you have, it would be a successful day. You have now sold every piece of inventory you have.
That's fantastic.
And then the police squad car comes by.
Okay.
And they ask like, "Oh, hey, are you selling some treats?"
And I'll say, hey, I actually just sold the last one I have, so I'm closing up for the night.
And they produce a wrapper for one of the Spider-Man treats, and they're like, "Did you sell a Spider-Man specific treat today?"
I sold a ton of those. I sold probably about 100 of them.
Do you remember a little boy about 10 years old who may have had one of these treats?
I do not.
Okay. So we understand that you're the only ice cream vendor here today, and while we can't nail it yet, and they are laughing because they think it's ridiculous too, they're like, this little boy was diabetic, and he's in a diabetic coma now because he ate this, and we just don't understand what kind of a monster would give just a random kid, a 10-year-old boy, this. Now, he paid with a very specific $1.25. The dollar bill, there's not much to say about it, but the quarter was a 1962 Buffalo quarter. And so we're going to need to go through all of the money that you have in there, and we need to find out if this quarter's in there, because that could be the smoking gun.
Well, you don't understand. I mean, if this quarter came into my change jar throughout the day, it probably left the change jar as well, as I'm giving people change back.
We're willing to take that risk. We got to do our due diligence. We are the Boston Police Department.
Well, as much as I support you in your crusade against injustice,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to see a warrant before I give you access to my personal private property, which is currently locked right now.
That's totally understandable. And I it's interesting that we both have these Western accents instead of Bostonian
And yet we live
accents.
in Boston, yeah.
And
It's a real shame what Hollywood has done to the perception of the Boston accent, isn't it?
it really is. And we blame Ben Affleck for it.
Yeah.
Don't leave the state. They never end up coming back to you because they find out that it was not actually this thing that sent the kid into a diabetic coma, but a person, a drifter, who was offering kids spoonfuls of sugar, and he went by the name the Merriest Poppins, and so he ends up getting arrested. But you're reading about it in a series of newspapers, like the Boston Globe has been doing a profile on the drifter, the Merriest Poppins, been doing stuff like murdered some kids on a carousel. Of course, giving everyone a spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down.
But Tucker's Treats is trucking along.
It's fine. It's
doing great.
It's fine. There were some people who may have tried to put two and two together.
There was
but
a
nothing
cloud
stuck.
of suspicion, some chatter on the Fargo subreddit. Yeah.
They were going to call it Treatgate. And luckily, there was nothing. And it's funny because it was on the Fargo subreddit, even though this is a Boston crime.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's how far this...
It's a Boston market crime.
We don't even have one of those in town.
But it's wherever the closest Boston market is. That's where this actually took place.
It might be Chicago is the closest.
That's
That
still
thing
the Midwest.
didn't really make its way across here. Okay, this is the last scenario.
Okay.
You have been invited to a brunch for Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter themed food items. Things like hard-boiled dragon's eggs, but they're just dyed, eggs. There's a goblet of fire out of the fruit stand.
Maybe there's
but
probably
it's-
like pretzel sticks that are brooms.
Right, exactly. Maybe a little chocolate on the side of there. There's like Hagrid's haggis. There's a bunch of stuff. So like butterbeer pancakes.
Yeah,
a lot
a
of these
bunch
things.
of like punch bowls where they've got like some smoke coming out of them, like they put some dry ice inside.
Bingo, right? I mean, you clearly understand what the vibe of this place is.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in a hotel, like a downtown hotel. And you've been invited there with a bunch of friends. You are the first person to arrive, and you don't know which of your friends the reservation is under. So you list all of your friends, and when you get to the very last one, they're like, oh, that's it. It's under JJ Gordon's name. So they show you to a table, and you sit down. Across the restaurant, which is not very big, you see there's a single person at another table over there. And it's a former teacher. And they're eyeing you up, and they're trying to figure out where they know you from. And you quickly turn away. Luckily, they've printed all of these fake newspapers to look like they're Harry Potter newspapers, so you busy yourself with looking at that other than just your phone, right? And then suddenly you notice that there's somebody standing at the opposite edge of your round table.
Oof.
And they are lingering there long enough that you finally have to look up.
Yep.
And it's this former teacher. But here's the thing. It's your former PE teacher.
Which one?
Which one do you think it is?
I think it's Mr. D.
Mr. D. It is Mr. D.
Yep, it's Mr.
It's
D.
Mr. D. And he looks down and he goes,
For Horseman Elementary.
Tucker?
Like a Mr. D?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to call him Mr. Dick because we would all snicker at it. So we call him Mr. D.
Right. You can call me Richard if you want. Because now we're
Mr. Richard.
Yeah, Mr. Richard. Hey, so you eating by yourself?
No, I'm the first one to arrive. It's a Harry Potter theme party, and I think I just got here a little bit early on my owl or something.
Well, I'm here for the Harry Potter themed as well. Clearly, you don't read or watch the movies or read the fan fiction because he doesn't ride owls. You could have said something like, "Oh, Buckbeak dropped me off a little bit early," but that's beside you. Your friends must be fans of Harry Potter or brunch.
Why are you such a little bitch?
I'll tell you why. Because you cheated in the sit and reach. And it's been weighing on me since you were in elementary school. You got a signed certificate from the Presidential
That's only
Fitness
because
Challenge.
you made me keep doing laps when I was crying about my dead gerbil Nicky, and you said, "Tucker, tough it out," and I couldn't tough it out because he was dead.
And you learned an important life lesson that I hope you've carried through into other situations.
Mr.
Where,
D,
when
why
you
was
wanted
that-
to stop running, you
Mr.
kept
D,
running.
why was that gym carpeted? Why did you leave the carpet on that gym?
Because my brother-in-law sells carpet, and I needed to help him out. And we had a little money left over after we re-greased all the wheels on the carts.
But it wasn't just the gym, it was also the cafeteria.
Yeah. Makes it easier. You guys spill some crumbs, we can vacuum it up. We don't have to always be sweeping all the time. You go into a hotel, or you always like, why is this whole room? You ever eat pizza in a hotel?
Look at this section of my back. Look at all of the rug burn I still have as a 38-year-old man from playing kickball in that gym.
Well, maybe if you wanted to go see Madame Pomfrey in the hospital wing of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, you wouldn't have those rug burns on there anymore. I'm not trying to be confrontational. I just wanted to let you know that I've been thinking about this since you were in school. And I recently wrote a letter in longhand to former President Bill Clinton saying that he signed a falsified document saying that you had completed the Presidential Fitness Challenge in 4th grade. And this has been weighing on me. You're mocking me with your laughter, but I lost my family because of this. I lost my job, and most recently, I lost my car. I've been finding solace in high stakes pie-gow gambling, and I lost my Subaru Forester in a bad bet, and the cards just didn't come my way, and this is meant to be that I can finally see you and we can have a conversation about this. I've tried to find you, but it turns out that your given name is not Tucker McSquealy, which is what we called you, and they won't let me access the school records anymore. So
That's because of my proud, loyal service as a crossing guard for 2 years, Mr. D.
and you were great.
I was basically a cop,
Yes, you were.
right?
You take that responsibility lightly?
Yep. No. I mean, that's why I showed up at 5 a.m. to do it.
To do it, and you got all the kids across the street safely.
I did.
It's my
I
job
absolutely
to
did.
get you safely across the physical fitness
Yeah,
line.
well, you didn't. You didn't.
And so I guess what I'm looking for here is some absolution. I'm hoping that maybe you did something with your life that was so worthwhile that I could understand that, yes, even though I was part of a deceitful wrongdoing, that maybe you made the world a better place.
Huh?
By the way, what house would you have been sorted into, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. The Enterprise. That one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Regular old Hufflepuff over here. Scene.
I don't even know if he's alive anymore.
What-
I haven't seen him since
Do you remember what
1996.
his real name was?
No, just that his name was Mr. Dick. I mean, that was his
Dick.
real name. I don't know what his first name was.
Mr. D.
But he was the gym teacher at Horace Mann
Okay.
for, I mean, shit, from 1990 through 1997 for sure. Because he was, the gym guy there. And we had a carpeted gym. I have
Really?
no idea if it is like that anymore. And
Like
it was,
they were just like, hey, listen, we'll just put carpet in this room.
I mean, I wish I could say, but it was basically the same kind of carpet like this here in this.
okay, so like a
office.
very low cut
Yeah.
carpet, very like
Very
industrial.
low, tan, and then it had the basketball lines painted onto it.
That is messed up.
And then that was also the cafeteria.
How could you play basketball on that?
You could, you just didn't want to fall down.
You'd have to really throw it down hard, right?
It was still, there was enough bounce to the floor that you could bounce a basketball.
Do you think
we
they
really
carpeted
weren't
over
playing,
like an actual gym floor?
I don't know. It was just, I just know that it was like that the entire time I was at Horace
Did
Mann.
you have a principal who was so crazy for power
Mr.
that he
Stigman?
or she decided that the cafeteria / gym was going to be their office so they could have the biggest office in the building? And they're like, carpet it.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I really wish I knew. I would love to get a tour of Horace Mann today.
Oh, yeah?
Just because, I was there for so long and so much has changed over the years. So what does the inside of that place look like? Because that is a historic building.
When my elementary school celebrated its 75th anniversary, they had tours. Like they invited alumni back, elementary school alumni, and we got to tour. And we the elementary school library is where I learned the power of the Caldecott Award and how important that was to children's literature. And the librarian, who I thought was very wise, aka well on in years, was still alive. And she was talking about how the grade I was in left a lasting impression on her because it was right when Goosebumps were starting to become big. So there was this love of reading that was reignited.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Reader's Scholastic, whatever that was called.
The book fair.
The book fair.
Oh, and then you get the book order, like the book. What do they call those? Like flyers?
Yeah. Just little paper flyers
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the kid could pick what he wanted.
You could order the book
Oh,
order form.
That's where I was always getting my Calvin and Hobbes and my Garfield.
Oh, that's a good move.
Was from there. That was basically, those were the books that I was into, were like comic strip books.
I think that's how I learned to manipulate my parents because I was saying, like, listen, we could just get these 2 Goosebump books, which would be great.
Yeah.
But if we get a third, we get a sticker sheet for free. So we're really leaving money on the table
That's true.
by not getting the sticker sheet.
That's true.
I negotiated with them to get that sticker sheet. And then here's the type of person I was as a kid. I never wanted to put the stickers on anything because then I thought, well, then I've used the stickers and then I don't have the stickers anymore. And so I would have pieces of like plastic sheeting over and over of unused stickers. It was ridiculous. By the way, did your mom ever get into like scrapbooking or making photo albums or anything?
Photo
like that?
albums for sure, but I mean it's been years since she's done that. Scrapbooking, not so much. I mean she did a little bit when we were babies, but not a ton.
My mom got into it was like a hybrid between scrapbooking and just straight up photo albums, where you would use a lot of photos and less like kitschy stuff. Like, you know, like if you go to Chicago, you're like, oh, here's my boarding pass to get on the plane, and here's this thing. And so it was a lot of stickers. I want to say like Creative Memories was the name of the company it was like a
Okay.
you know, a tri-level marketing
Sure.
scheme, pyramid scheme. And so, but you could get exclusive stickers and stuff like this, but the stickers were ultra expensive, and you could buy them in sheets of themes. Like, so this theme is grilling, and this sheet is dentist, and this sheet is divorce. And so it's the moment of like 2 Christmases. But like we had, when my mom passed and we cleaned out the basement, we had so much. And I'm talking about so much when it came to Christmas, like, or not Christmas, it's Creative Memory stuff, that at one point I looked at my sister and I was like, this is our inheritance.
Right.
Like when a family leaves something that has value for the next generation, these at one point had value, and now they are filling landfills. They are.
So you threw them all out?
Most of it, yeah.
Oh, really?
I kept a bunch
So
of.
it wasn't the
just
kind of stuff
albums.
that you would like digitize or anything? Or?
No, I mean there's sheets of stickers,
Okay.
like sheet after sheet after sheet. Gotcha. And I thought, well, maybe I should put some of these on my laptop, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's still stupid.
You don't want to bedazzle your laptop?
Right.
Well,
Have you ever put a bumper sticker on your car?
Yeah. Oh man, when was the last one? I mean, I think the last one was a John Kerry sticker.
Really?
I think for that presidential election, I believe that was the last time I put a sticker on my car. I believe.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I put an Obama one on or not. I only ever did political ones at a certain point. Now I don't do any.
I have never liked something enough to know that, like, yes, no matter what, I will put this on my car and I will be happy about that the whole time.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I love things like Back to the Future, right? But I've always had a problem putting a bumper sticker on something. And maybe because, like, at one point my dad, someone put a bumper sticker on his car while he was at a concert, and he got real pissed about it because it was a plastic bumper, and trying to get that thing off was a nightmare because it was for something that he did not, like, support.
Yeah.
So...
JJ, I got you a gift for today.
You did?
I did. I actually got you a bunch of things as a gift for today.
May I see them?
Yeah. So you tell me how you want to receive them.
Okay.
Do you want me to give them to you one at a time, or do you want me to give you just the whole bag and you're just going to dig them out?
I want to get it one at a time. I want it present style, not stocking style.
Okay. These are not wrapped up.
Okay. They did
FYI.
come in some grocery bags.
Yep, they're in grocery bags.
What do you think? How do you think you'd do in California where they don't have plastic bags anymore?
How would I do?
Yeah. How would you fare as a human being?
I'd get along fine.
Sure.
I'm sure I'd find a workaround.
Here's the thing. I use plastic bags for so many things other than just carrying
You
groceries.
could probably just get them shipped in from Fargo.
People do. They buy like plastic bags and have them like brought in. Because like if you're gonna do some litter box clean out. Okay, you gave me a copy of Follow That Bird, the first Sesame Street movie ever. This is a dandy right here. And you want to know why? John Candy's on it.
Yep.
Which I love. In fact, these are the celebrities that they choose to include on the cover. This movie came out in what, 1988? No, maybe before that? 1985. This is 1985. Sandra Bernhard gets top billing. Then John Candy, Chevy Chase, Joe Flaherty, Waylon Jennings, and Dave Thomas. Joe Flaherty and Dave Thomas are the bad guys in this movie, and they are in the primarily like the most of it. Sandra Bernhard works at a Grouch restaurant. John Candy is a cop, and Chevy Chase is just doing he does like a newscast. He has one of the best jokes. He goes, and the bird is hoping to get back to Sesame Street. What was that? I'm sorry. Sesame Street. And then Waylon Jennings, who sings one of the best songs. Also, did you happen to note what the counts, like he's got this old Transylvanian style car with like bat wings. Did you see what his license plate is?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then Oscar's Jalopy has Scram as the license plate.
Nice.
This is awesome. I love this.
Is this in your collection yet?
It is not. And it also lets me know that the original motion picture soundtrack from Follow That Bird on RCA records and audio cassettes. This is also from a re-release of the film in 1991 by Warner Home Video. One of the things I enjoy is when a director makes the logo for the studio that airs, like that comes up before, something of their own. Example.
Sure.
In the Flintstones movie, it's instead of Universal, it's Universal, and they redo the logo for that. In basketball, they take the logo and they turn it into the opening like credits. In this, Big Bird, who's wearing pants at the time, which seems like it's off-putting, but an animated Big Bird goes up and pumps up the Warner Brothers logo. So there you go. This is great. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You recently found this while you were out and about?
Well, so some of these are ones that I've had in storage,
just waiting,
knowing that these were JJ tapes. Some of these are ones I found recently to pick up as JJ tapes.
Okay.
So I went, basically what I did was I went through what I'm not keeping on my shelf.
Okay.
And was like, hey, what's a JJ tape? And then I took it, and these are all for you.
I really love that our friendship has gotten to the point of where you can identify tapes that are JJ tapes.
I may have given you a copy of this before. I really don't remember, but here's a second one for you.
You certainly have. Heavyweights.
Okay.
You've given me a copy of this.
But you should have a backup, especially because that is in fantastic condition.
This is really in good condition. It's not all bleached out like that it was like sitting near the sun. It's got proof of purchase still on here.
Doesn't have any of the chippings or tearings.
Do you know who wrote the movie Heavyweights?
We talked about this. Who the hell was it?
Judd Apatow.
No shit.
Yeah. And
that's right.
I love movies. Okay, so this is a very niche genre. I love movies where a single person plays multiple characters in a movie. So, an example, Coming to America, The Nutty Professor, Heavyweights, where Ben Stiller plays both himself and his dad, who shows up later on. He goes, no one sue me, no one anything. Whoever wants to do this, someone's got to be in charge. Who's been here the longest? And he's the lighting king of upstate New York. They came, they saw, they conquered, and consumed.
And this is where the Devil Log film.
This is where my wife,
comes.
yeah.
Right.
This also, my friend Lindsay, she and her husband quote Heavyweights all the time too.
Now in the front, is that a big burger that's just really long?
I think it's supposed to be kind of like a hoagie, maybe, and it's got one of the camp counselors. Here's what's weird. Ben Stiller was a star when they made this movie, but he's nowhere to be found on the front of this.
Right.
You do get to see Goldberg from Mighty Ducks because this is a Disney movie. And then you get to see, an incredibly young, what's his face from, who I don't care for, from Saturday Night Live or all that.
Oh, Kenan
Thompson.
What year did that come out?
This came out, its running time is 97 minutes. Film has been modified from its original version to, so it's in 4.2, of course it is, or 4.3. This came out in, where is the, early 90s. Where is the, copyright on it? Oh, my God. It's even rewound, too.
Oh, nice.
Recommend this comedy hit to friends. That's what it says in here. It doesn't have a date on here anywhere. That's weird. Even just the copyright is the Walt Disney Company. Don't mess with us. We're the Walt Disney Company. If I had to guess, I would say 1991.
Okay, because I was going to say, Stiller would have maybe been a TV star, but he wasn't a box office draw star, which is probably why he's not on the poster too.
Yeah.
It's just that he's not he wasn't
Neither
getting
were these
top,
chubby kids.
He wasn't getting top
honest.
billing, but that sandwich gag is great. This next one is not in the best condition, but it should go into your collection.
Oh, Ghostbusters. And finding a pristine copy of Ghostbusters, I think, is tough.
Very
right?
tough.
Also, these things fly off the shelves.
Yeah.
Like when someone gets it. This is great. Only factory sealed packages contain this mark on wrapper. Doesn't have its container anymore.
Yeah, that just means that if it had its plastic wrap on it, it'd have a watermark on it that you would be able to tell, oh, this is not like a rewrap.
This, clearly this VHS was loved by somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Also, do you notice how it's got kind of like a stippling?
Yes, I love that. I love that style of tape.
Uh-huh.
Just it sort of tells you sort of an older printing of the tape as well. I collect those RCA ones with the block white text and the red border on it. So I'm always
Hi-fi
picking something
stereo
from-
on linear tracks, mono compatible though. If I've got that.
Unfortunately, the one side of it was cut off. Someone, decided to cut out the side of the box, but
Which is weird because both the top and the bottom are sealed. So did this have like a flap that would open?
so some of these ones, which lets you know how old it was that it would have actually been an entire flap that would have closed on that
Oh,
side.
wow.
So they've cut that off entirely, so it would just slide out. They could have just cut the bottom of it, but they did not do that.
Would you like to know an interesting fact about this movie?
Yes.
So originally, John Belushi was supposed to be in it, and then he died. And so they replaced him with Bill Murray, but that's not the only casting what if. Originally, Rick Moranis' part was supposed to be played by John Candy, and he wanted to play it as a goofy German. And then John Candy was I think he was making Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or Uncle Buck, one of those at the same time. And so they were like, he's like, I can't do it, but you should get my friend Rick Moranis. He'd be great, because they were on SCTV together. And so Rick Moranis got the role. And then he did the same thing again for Moranis with Walt Disney Pictures for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He was like, I can't do this, but you should get Rick Moranis. He'd be great.
Rick Moranis was perfect. Well, speaking of John Candy, the next one we have.
Oh, Volunteers. I think that he and Tom Hanks were probably good friends because they did this. They did Splash.
Is that would be the pairing that you would probably implode if you had met?
Oh,
Right. That would have been it, right?
Could you imagine,
and Cindy Crawford.
If there had been a van that had pulled up and John Candy's driving it and he rolls down the window and it's old enough that he has to reach over and roll it down and he goes, "Hey kid, get in the van." I'd be like, "You bet." And then Tom Hanks opens the sliding door at the end and I'd go, "Yay!" Have you ever seen the movie Volunteers?
I have not.
I
didn't know it existed until I saw it on the shelf.
It is a sensational movie that just it's ripe for a remake at this point, I think. Where
who would you cast in it?
So I think you could do a gender swap and be really happy with a Melissa McCarthy. In fact, you could do Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock, and they would be great in these two roles together. I believe this is also the movie where Tom Hanks met Rita Wilson, who became his bride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me read the Life has taken a turn for the worse for Lawrence Bourne III, Tom Hanks. He's on the run from the bookies, in debt for $28,000, and although he comes from money, nothing but trouble seems to be coming his way. Lawrence persuades a friend to let him take his place on a plane, leaving that night for Thailand. And before he knows it, old money Lawrence ends up in no money Thailand to work for the Peace Corps. Down amongst the do-gooders like Tom Tuttle from Tacoma, John Candy, and pretty Beth Wexler, Rita Wilson, Lawrence has his work cut out for him. While the others are teaching the natives how to boil water, he's showing them how to play bridge. When the small village finds itself caught up in a battle between a CIA-supported warlord and the communist revolutionary forces, Lawrence must delay his plans for opening a Thai nightclub and romancing Beth and focus more on important things like staying alive. Oh,
that is insane.
It is.
That's insane.
James Horner did the music for this movie. And so another interesting fact about this, HBO Pictures did this. When HBO decided to get into making movies, it was really smart. And when you think about it, they've become a dominating force. And they're mainly making stuff for themselves.
You're telling me if there'd been no Volunteers, there'd been no Sopranos?
Bingo.
That's pretty big.
That is. I am not only telling you that, I am assuring you that if the Volunteers hadn't crawled, Sopranos wouldn't have walked.
Well, I think these next two should just go together.
I'm delighted.
Because there's no massive surprises here, but these are ones you should have.
Oh, let me tell you something. I have been so it's the Muppet movie in the re-release artwork, but not the clamshell, because I don't like the clamshell so much.
Yeah.
And then the Muppets Take Manhattan in the original box. This one is the Muppets Take Manhattan. Like, I love the cover art. The poster for this is great. On the back, it's Kermit and Piggy at their wedding. This movie directed by Frank Oz because Jim Henson was too tired at the time, and too busy on other stuff. These are delightful.
Yeah.
These are going to make me maybe tear up just a little bit.
The Muppets Take Manhattan, And it's been, I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but I bet if I went back and watched it, that would probably solidify it as my favorite. I mean, it's tough for Muppet movies with Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
good.
It's really hard to beat Christmas Carol, but
So I think that the Muppet movies, here's what amazes me, right? So first of all, yesterday I was at the Fargo Country Club having lunch, and we were the only people in the restaurant, and our waitress came over and she goes, "Are you guys a bunch of directors in Hollywood?" And we said, "No, we just like movies." And she goes, "Oh." And I said, "What was the last movie that you really liked?" "Oh gosh, I'm on the spot." And I'm like, "What was the last movie you watched?" She goes, "Oh, the Muppet movie." And I said, "Oh, you're talking to the right people." And she goes, I love it. So finding like that song, "Man or a Muppet," and I immediately like must have changed the look on my face because I'm like, "You didn't watch the Muppet movie. You watched a movie called The Muppets. Get your shit in order, lady." But then I realized she's much younger. She just doesn't understand. But when Jim Henson and Lord Lou Grade, who produced The Muppet Show, decided they wanted to make a movie, you got this opportunity to take these characters and put them in a place that they had never been before. So not only does he do all this stuff in the like actual landscape, so they have to figure out rigs. So if they're at a county fair, like how is Kermit walking in a county fair and all that. But then they allow them to like become even better. The Muppets Take Manhattan opens with all of them graduating from college. They all go to college, and their senior sem project is to put on a musical called the Merry Melodies, and then they want to take it to Broadway. And two of the most influential songs that I know from movies from the 80s come from this. One is "You Can't Take No for an Answer," which is a song that the Electric Mayhem sing. "You can't take no for an answer. No, 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 no." And it's a nice little thing to get people like excited about, you got to keep, no one hands you your dream.
Sure.
You got to work at. And the second one is a song called "Saying Goodbye," where their dream has not come true and they all split and they all go different directions. I have quoted "Saying Goodbye" in 3 different funerals I've spoken at.
Yeah, I've seen
"Saying goodbye, why is it sad? Makes you remember the good times you've had." Ugh. Good Lord.
This next one, I think I've heard you say you already have it, but I'm going to give you this anyways.
Okay.
It's Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Oh, delightful. So for my 40th birthday, they turned this into a live-action stage show that is a mixture of human beings
for your
in
40th
costumes.
birthday?
Yeah, for my 40th birthday, it's coming up.
Oh.
They adapted Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
For a second, I was thinking we're talking about something in the past.
Oh,
I'm like, that hasn't happened yet. And they're doing it for your 40th?
They kind
in
of
honor
are.
of JJ's 40th birthday.
And so the Goodspeed Opera House did it a few years ago, and they're doing it in Chicago now. And it's a mixture of human beings in costumes and then actual live puppetry on stage. And so I'm flying to Chicago to see this. Also, another little piece of trivia when it comes to Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. There are 2 different releases of this depending on who owned it at that time. One that uses Kermit the Frog kind of as a narrator, and one where Kermit's not a part of it. This is one where he's a narrator, and they do one of the things that I love the most, which is not only is Kermit riding a bike, but he also is wearing clothes because it's cold out.
Yeah.
So he's got a little sweater and a
Fall.
scarf. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Fall and winter.
It's good. As Christmas approaches Frogtown Hollow, Emmett Otter and his Ma can only dream of buying each other gifts with the little money they make, Ma doing laundry and Emmett doing odd jobs. So, when a Christmas Eve talent contest is announced, Emmett joins a jug band and Ma decides to sing a song. But Emmett will have to put a hole in Ma's wash tub to make a bass, and Ma will have to hawk Emmett's tool chest to buy herself a costume. Should Emmett and Ma risk all they have to make each other's dreams come true? Narrated by Kermit and based on the book by Russell and Lillian Hoban, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas will put a song in your heart. I also quote this when I give funerals because there's a song called "When the Mountain" or "When the River Meets the Sea," and it's this it's just a beautiful song, and it's about like when when the mountain touches the valley. And it's all about like you've had this long life, when the river meets the sea, the almighty sea. It's a beautiful, beautiful little piece. And I love that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. This next one is the last Jim Henson one.
Okay.
This one, I think, must pair with something, but I don't know. And I've never seen this before. But.
Oh, it's a Muppet Babies favorite video storybooks. Oh my God. Does this have the one where Animal Go Bye-Bye, If I Were Just Like Kermit, A Love Note for Baby Piggy, What's a Gonzo, Kermit the Hermit, Baby Piggy and the Giant Bubble, Meet the Muppet Babies. There was another Muppet Babies tape that came out at least at one point it's not animated. They would take they would have a drawing and they would pan over the drawing and they were telling the story. And so for Baby Animal, it was him trying to help London Bridge from falling down.
Okay. So because it says video storybook on the front of it. Mm-hmm. Never played it, so I don't know.
A selection of 7 favorites from the Muppet Babies video storybook series. Never seen on TV. Do you know who did the animation for this originally? Like when they pitched Muppet Babies? Marvel.
Oh, that actually, you know what? No, that actually makes sense because I remember seeing the Spider-Man logo.
Yeah, sure.
The animated Spider-Man logo. That's right.
Oh, this is delightful. They've recently ages 2 and up, by the way. Those kids aren't operating with VHS though. Oh God,
it's seen better days.
It's so short that like when you see the reel that the tape is on, there's just not much.
That's got to be 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes.
There was a series of companies that did things for kids. So Teak is one of them, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what that stands for, but that was the company that did Inspector Gadget. This is Kids Classics, both with K, Kids with a K, Classics with a K. And it is very exciting to me when you unearth some of those old entertainment group or it was Family Home Entertainment.
Yeah,
FHE.
Yes.
Was another one that was really popular
because all the Turtles tapes were FHE.
Bingo,
tapes, especially from the Burger King one. 2 last tapes. One.
These are great.
One.
I've got tapes for you in my car.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
One is the closest we ever got to an Adventures of Pete and Pete movie.
Oh, Snow Day. Yep. And you know how you can instantly tell it's a Nintendo cassette?
Got an orange cassette.
Orange, which is weird because you would think that they would go green like they had slime. They were famous for slime, but their logo, I guess,
They've always been orange, though. I think orange has always been their primary color.
Do you know they just remade this movie?
Remade?
They remade the movie Snow Day, and it was on Paramount Plus because Paramount owns all that.
No shit.
And it's a musical. And so they've got a bunch of songs and stuff like that. You also gave me 2 VHSs that have Chevy Chase in them.
What's the other? Oh,
To Follow That Bird.
Oh, yeah.
His family entertainment. There is also a weird scene that perverts from this movie where Emmanuel Cirque, who was very young at the time, she's nipping out. And so there were a bunch of perverts, I guess, who would take this movie. Also, this is the special edition. How many VHSs did you see that have a special edition that includes cast and crew interviews, Snow Day scoop featurette?
Yeah, I don't even run into Snow. I mean, most of these tapes are ones that I almost never see on the shelf. And yeah, even Snow Day is one. So I'm sure there's probably an edition that is not a special edition release. There's probably a release that's like a black tape. Black tape one might be it.
This movie came out in the year 2000 and it includes a website. I believe this is the first VHS tape that you gave me that includes a website on it. www.paramount.com/home video. Okay. I like that.
This last one is one that I actually picked up for you a number of months ago.
Oh.
I think I've had this for 6+ months. This was one of the first JJ tapes.
Oh, lovely.
This is for JJ. I'll let you read it.
Okay, so interestingly enough, they just remade this movie too.
No kidding.
Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. And before I even read the back of this, I can tell you it stars Angela Lansbury, by the way, who I love.
Which is why I got it.
It's the story of a woman in England who sees like a famous designer dress and decides she's going to go to Paris, and that's like her husband dies and she's going to take all of her money, and that's the one thing that she wants after cleaning houses for years is to have this one really nice dress. And so she goes there, and then she kind of becomes the toast of the town because she's such a like bumpkin, but she's getting this as well. So let me read the description, see if this is the right one. In a charming and delightful tale based on the Paul Gallico novel, Angela Lansbury wonderfully portrays Mrs. Heiress, an honest, hardworking cleaning woman who dreams of luxury she doesn't have. After admiring a new Dior dress in the closet of one of her employers, the widowed Mrs. Heiress decides to do more than just dream. Scrimping and saving, she sacrifices almost everything to go to Paris and the House of Dior. Along the way, Mrs. Heiress finds adventure and touches the lives of all she meets. A heartwarming movie for any season. Mrs. Heiress Goes to Paris is great for the whole family. This one's only 90 minutes. The one that came out this year, I believe, was just short of 2 hours.
Who is the new Mrs. Heiress?
A forgettable British woman.
Right.
Certainly not Dame Angela Lansbury.
No, not the incomparable Angela
This
Lansbury.
also looks like it was maybe made for television.
I think it was. I'm pretty
Right?
sure it was. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this had like a wide theatrical release.
No, copyright 1992, so they waited 30 years to remake it. And the one that came out this last year was a full theatrical release. And I got to tell you, I think it's all right every now and then to remake movies.
Oh
like,
yeah, every
you know,
now and then.
Right.
Just like
not,
it's
not
it's
everything's
a good,
meant for
just
a remake.
like it's great every now and then to have a big old bowl of ice cream.
Right.
Just
But
not.
don't give it to any diabetic children.
Just
The
not.
Boston cops will come for you.
Just not multiple times a week. You know.
Yeah.
I've-
There's some truth.
I've really been struggling with my sugar intake.
Have you really?
Oh, I do.
What are you? Is it ice cream that you're eating? Or
No, it's a sugar cookie with a big old inch of frosting
Oh,
on
no.
top. It's
Oh, no.
so good. It's so good.
You
And
love that.
soda. I need to stop the soda. If I could just stop soda, that'd probably be a huge
Mm-hmm.
benefit for me. I'm in this mode right now where I'm like, I am starting to plan my winter and trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing.
You're like a bear. Like right now, bears are planning their winter.
I kind of need to because I really want, like my new job, which is going really well, but it's got a very strict schedule. And so being able to get there at 7:30 in the morning on time during winter when, blizzards are going on and
it's
stuff
going to be
like
so
that.
dark when you go to work.
Right. So I'm figuring out a whole plan of attack where I'm gonna start. Now that it's really nice outside right now, I'm gonna start cleaning out the garage. So I've got space to put the car back in the garage because last winter I just left it in the driveway. And then every morning, if blizzard overnight, I just have to snow blow the entrance to the garage, and that's
Okay.
basically it. So I'm basically just gonna not use my driveway for the most part, with the exception of a walking path. So when I have to do that, I can just do that after work. But
Okay, well that's good.
and then I want to get auto start installed in the car,
Oh yeah, good move.
and then make it so that I can turn it on from my house, so that I can open the garage door and turn on the car from the house when I'm still getting warm in the morning. So I've got to make this whole plan of how that's going to work. I got to start.
I mean,
working
you've
towards
already got the plan. You just need to start executing it, right?
Sure. I feel like there's going to be more though. Like, okay, that mud room that you helped me with, I need to finally seal that darn thing in.
Sure.
And so I'm going to make that door jam. I just today made the new litter box for the cats out of a giant tub I got from
Awesome.
Menards. So got to get a bunch of that stuff done. But and then I just want to do my job and hibernate for the winter.
Listen, I love that for you because I'm currently at a point right now where I don't have an open weekend until Thanksgiving. I have plans and obligations every single weekend leading up to that, and it's a little overwhelming to think I give everything I have to my work week, and then I need just a couple of moments to kind of, like, this is gonna sound weird, but like I was kind of being like, I haven't had COVID yet. Maybe now would be the prime time to get sick. But then it's a horrible thing to say because I know people who passed away from COVID, and I don't want that. I don't want to lose my sense of taste and smell.
Right.
But something tells me like, wouldn't it be great? Or like, I have like a torn ligament in my arm, and so they'll tell me like, listen, you're gonna have to have surgery, and so you're gonna be, out of commission for a couple of days,
Right.
while you heal. I think to myself, that sounds awesome. I can
Just
sit there and do
sit
whatever
around
I want.
and do whatever. That'd be pretty sweet.
It would be pretty sweet. And I already know what I would do with my time.
That'd be nice.
I've been meaning to watch through all the Farley Brothers movies. Just get them done. Just be done with it.
Well, I hope this is a good addition to your VHS library.
These are great additions to my
collecting.
VHS library.
Yeah.
I decided that my newest priority, here's my newest priority. I have Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2. I need Back to the Future 3 to complete the set. And I need Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Okay.
Those are my big ones I'm looking for right now. I spent almost an hour today doing what I think has kind of become an obsession, which is I've been cleaning out and organizing at the Ark their VHS tapes.
You did an hour?
I did an hour. Well, because here's the thing. I can't just all collect them together and be like, okay, well, here's 3 stepmoms, but I can't fit another one, so I'll just start another line. I am constantly moving these things to maximize. And so these are the things that they had multiples of. And I find it to be intriguing. For a while, I thought Sandra Bullock represents VHS in the 90s because the most common star. And I said, no, today, Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts. Also, because of my organization, someone has bought at least one copy of Hope Floats.
Yeah, but do you see how addicting it is?
It is.
To get multiple copies, finding them, and putting them on the shelf next to each other?
Okay, this is what they have multiples of at the Ark on 32nd. Meet the Parents, Conspiracy Theory, That Old Feeling, The First Wives Club, Mr. Holland's Opus, Field of Dreams, First Night. They've got 4 copies of First Night just sitting there. My Best Friend's Wedding, a whole stack. As Good as It Gets, a whole stack. Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, Stepmom. Now, St. Vincent's had 9 copies of Stepmom, only 2 at the Ark. Independence Day, Hope Floats, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of Hope Floats. Hanging Up, which is Walter Matthau's last movie. It's a piece of shit. What Lies Beneath, Notting Hill, French Kiss, The Family Man, While You Were Sleeping, 3 Men and a Baby, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. They've got 5 copies of When a Man Loves a Woman. Driving Miss Daisy, The Out of Towners, the new one with Steve Martin, The Wedding Planner, Sweet Home Alabama. They've got 3 copies of The Green Mile, 3 copies of Braveheart, 3 copies of Saving Private Ryan, and 3 copies of The Sound of Music, which are all double tapers. Father of the Bride, and then Father of the Bride Part 2, Sister Act 2, and there are the exact number of Sister Act and Sister Act 2 tapes, so you could take home the collection. 28 Days, Grumpy Old Men, Grumpier Old Men, Autumn in New York, October Sky, Runaway Bride, Bridget Jones's Diary, just the first one, Sleepless in Seattle, The Client, which I accidentally put upside down, so I know someone's going to give me grief about that. Air Force One, Only the Lonely, that's the only John Candy movie that they had doubles of. At First Sight, which is a horrible movie with Val Kilmer. And then a movie that I had never seen before called The Principal with Jim Belushi. And somehow they had 2 copies of it. And then just to have some fun, I found a copy of Grease and Grease 2, so I put them side by side.
Nice. Yeah.
And so, right?
Put the set together.
And the next time I go in, I got to tackle their clamshells because they're insane. And it's a time waster.
Yeah.
If you could just see, here are all the Miracle on 34th Streets. Here are all of the Return of Jafar's right next to Aladdin. So if you want that, King of Thieves at the end, I will make it happen.
It's fun to bring order to the VHS chaos, isn't it?
I actually want to discuss with some of these big thrift store outlets and say, listen, VHS collecting is really hot right now. And so I would recommend that you actually put out more and you have a decent person go through and decide what should be out there, because the fitness tapes, don't even bother with them.
Right.
The Tybo series, the Kathy Ireland workouts, those type of things, don't even put them out there. Have all your religious tapes in one area because only one person in this community is buying the Jesus tapes. Yeah. And then there are other random things that just don't seem to get attention and just take up shelf space. And clearly, they only stock for the space that they have left. Mm-hmm. So there might be a bunch of gems that are back there that until we cull some of this stuff out of the order, we're not going to get the good stuff.
I just want access to giant piles of VHS to take what I want.
Right?
and I will pay top dollar. I will pay $1 a piece.
And I also want to say, okay, listen, there are 3 Ark locations. Yeah. There's the one way south. No, that's a boys.
There's 2 arcs.
There's a boy. There's the Boys Ranch in way South Fargo on 52nd, right? Then there's a 32nd Avenue location, and then there is the big one out in Dilworth.
You're talking DBR. So
But then Arc, there's the one on University, and then they've got the one on 32nd.
32nd. DBR's got one in North Fargo too, but they don't have any VHS last I checked.
I thought they closed that one down.
No, North Fargo. North of 19th.
Oh, really?
On University. Yeah.
So this would be my suggestion to the Arc is if you have a ton of copies of a bunch, like a single tape, half them and bring some over to one Arc and then some over to the other Arc, so that if someone only has access to one of these stores on University, like, you know, because of maybe a bus route or where they can get to with walkability, just because there's 7 stepmoms at one location doesn't mean that the other location even has a single stepmom.
Right.
So it's time to flow that out.
Even it out a bit.
I think that I am the man to do that for you, and I will drive them around town on my own dime, on my own gas, and I will help spread the love.
Will you hook me up with tapes I'm looking
Yes.
for? Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Did
You sent me the master list.
Did you look? I was going to say, what did you think of my spreadsheet?
I think that you are insane. I think that the work that you put into the spreadsheet makes me think that you are a crazy person. Because it is so detailed.
But it's really well detailed in a way that illustrates what I'm looking for, right?
Like a serial killer has that. It's like
way better than what a serial killer does.
I'm only going to kidnap women who
does-
use a MasterCard.
No, I don't think a serial killer needs a spreadsheet, first of all.
Modern ones do. Because they can just take that wherever they go.
I think it is incredibly sensible. I think it's got a really nice touch with the graphics of the spines on top, so that if I'm
Are
trying
you talking about women's spines or VHS?
VHS spines.
Because it sounds.
Have you actually seen the spreadsheet?
Yes, I opened it.
So you went and looked and saw at the top the graphics at the top?
Dude, I'm telling you, you look like an insane person, and that's one of the reasons I love you. It's one of the reasons that you and I are on this adventure together.
The reason,
but if either of us are wanted by the FBI, they're gonna look at this thing and they're gonna be like, we have to crack the code for how they're killing truck stop.
You know what? They're more than welcome to look at my spreadsheet. Then I'm gonna go, you should look at the crazy amount of time he spends organizing tapes at the Arc on 32nd.
That's the thing, is they're gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, okay, so how are these this serial killer duo choosing their victims? It's tape based.
I'll be like, hey, my house doesn't even have a basement. Check out JJ's house.
Right.
There's definitely a basement there.
Right. And they're going to be like, okay, so Mr. Lucas, we went into your garage. And it appears that you have a lot of interesting items that we would have. And be like, those are my dad's.
So there's lists on the spreadsheet of all the different series that I collect. And at the top of each of those lists, I've got an actual image that shows you what the spine design of that looks like, so that if my mom ever decides to go, hey, I want to buy you some tapes. What do you want? She's very visual. I can go, if you ever see one that looks like that, right? That's buy one of those, you know.
And like, I think like the thing that I
got a color coding system, so I know like what's in here, what isn't.
And I used to think that was like garbage talk, right? But
which part?
Like how you're like, this is the spine I'm looking for, and this is the specific kind of like Ghostbusters tape I'm looking for.
Oh, so you thought I was joking when I was saying those things?
I thought you were like, come on, dude, like Ghostbusters is Ghostbusters.
Oh.
But my example is this. I collected 3 tapes today that were all the movie Waiting to Exhale. But there was a re-release of Waiting to Exhale after it probably became super popular, where it had a green top and not a purple top like the other ones. And I chose not to file them together because I'm like, nope. I almost didn't file a Green Mile because someone had put it in a plastic bag because obviously it's ripping apart. I'm like, do you deserve to be with that?
That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information.
Sorry, Natalie, but this is more fun than you give it credit for.